What's up, guys? Welcome back to Newswave. Well, it does look like we have a Nintendo Direct to look forward to this week, and while it's not the big general Direct people were hoping for, I think having a specific Direct for Mario Wonder could be pretty interesting, and we'll go over all of that here today. Also, we are going to be talking about Starfield and a bit of an update around when you can start playing the game, as well as a pretty big marketing push from Bethesda for that release. And we'll also be talking about Microsoft and their big initiative in Japan, as it looks like they are starting to make some moves to prepare even for Tokyo Game Show. Guys, if you enjoy these videos, make sure to hit that like button, helps out a ton. And if you're new here to the Spawnwave channel, make sure you subscribe down below. We're going to start today with Team Asobi and Astrobot. Well, we had Astrobot on the PS4, that of course working with the PlayStation VR, and then with the PS5's launch, we had Astro's Playroom, which is an awesome game, yes, to show off the feature set of the DualSense and the PS5 itself, but also just a really fun 3D platformer that just happens to come with your system. Well, now we can see this post up by Gamatsu, who did notice that Sony Interactive Entertainment filed trademarks for Astrobot on August 25th in Europe. Now, that by itself isn't necessarily massive in the sense that, oh, something's happening, but then that coupled with rumors from Xbox Era Nick that it sounds like Team Asobi is porting Astrobot from the PS4 up to the PS5 with PSVR 2 support, that'd be pretty cool because not a lot of people played Astrobot on the PS4, and that was a legitimately good experience in VR. And while the PSVR 2 isn't exactly lighting the world on fire when it comes to sales for it, I think anything at all could actually help it right now from a first-party perspective. And yeah, that includes Astrobot. Again, a game that came out a while ago, but still was a really cool usage of that PSVR headset, and I'm sure Team Asobi could do a few tweaks here and there, maybe to do a little bit more with PSVR 2. Well, I guess we'll see, as we are also assuming that Sony is preparing some sort of showcase to close out the year. Also, we heard a while ago that Skater XL was coming to the Switch, and then it just kind of went silent after that. I mean, it's out on other platforms, on PC, PlayStation, Xbox, but now we have the release date for this game and even footage of it running, which you can see here in the trailer that they released. It is coming out December 5th, 2023, so getting it in just before the end of the year with that first week December release. And looking at it, they do say it's 60 frames per second, both handheld and docked mode. And I feel like a lot of this time was legitimately them just trying to get it to work well enough on the system. I mean, you see the visuals, not like the prettiest overall. I mean, they're kind of blurry, and yeah, it's lower quality overall, but it works well at that 60 frames per second according to them, and that's what you would want for a skateboarding simulator like this. And the game itself, you kind of just jump in and essentially make your own fun, and it is a fun game. It's one that I would actually start up on the Xbox and just kind of play and relax to, because you literally just jump in and just do whatever tricks you want, and you can move around very easily, and they have an entire mod browser where different people in the community make full-on levels that you can skate around or other things like that. So it's a fun game, and I do enjoy it more than something like Sessions. So, hey, look out for it first week of December. I will get it on the Switch, though, and check it out and probably talk about it in a video. Oh, and we do know that Front Mission 2 was originally delayed. That was earlier this year, but now we have the official release date, and surprise, surprise, it's out in October, which you can see over on Gamatsu, saying that Front Mission 2 Remake launches October 5th for $34.99. Like this month needed any more releases. This is absolutely jammed-packed at this point. But some of the key features include improved loading speed, support for many new languages, new free camera, new coloring and camouflage options, modern in-game effects, and a renewed soundtrack. So, just another one to look forward to. This, of course, coming from Forever Entertainment, and as I mentioned, just October. It's just release after release after release. It's gonna be very, very hard to keep up. I mean, it already is now. So think about when we get to the end of that month. It's gonna be ridiculous. And guys, with some of the quick news out of the way, let's get into the bigger stuff. Let's start right away with a Nintendo Direct to look forward to tomorrow. Yeah, this got announced yesterday over on Twitter, which you can see posted up by Nintendo of America, where they say, join us for an in-depth look at Mario's latest 2D side-scrolling adventure in the live-streamed Super Mario Bros. Wonder Direct. August 31st, 7 a.m. Pacific, 10 a.m. Eastern, roughly 15 minutes. And there is still a lot they can go over with Super Mario Bros. Wonder, considering we have like, a 3 or 4 minute trailer, and a lot of the shots are out of context and without explanation for some of the different power-ups and things. Like, for example, you see Mario turn into an elephant. Can he also turn into other animals? Does that play into some of the mechanics across the board for this game? What does it mean to go between these weird psychedelic portions of the levels and so on? So there's quite a bit, and obviously I have to go over the Oscar-winning story, which I'm sure is going to blow people's minds. Might be time travel or something involved there. But looking at Super Mario Bros. Wonder, it is obviously being set up as their big holiday release, a big 2D Mario game on the heels of an incredibly successful Super Mario Bros. Movie. It all makes sense. But there was something else that was spotted here, and this was originally reported by GameXplain, then picked up by several publications like Go Nintendo, for example, where they say Super Mario Bros. Wonder includes in-game purchases. This is according to the ESRB rating, which we've seen this before many times, all right? So with some of Sony's titles, for example, they get DLC down the road, does have mention of in-game purchases. Now, I don't necessarily think that it's going to have microtransactions, for example. I would be more in line to think that it could have something to do with downloadable content. That at least makes sense with what Nintendo's been doing with many of their games. Because remember, they'll do like these passes, right? Think of like with Mario Kart, but then they'll go ahead and put it in Nintendo Switch Online, and that just incentivizes people to buy in and subscribe to their service and gives technically nice perks to people who already are subscribers. And I wouldn't be shocked if that's the route they went. But to me, you'd also want to have some sort of online interactivity if you're going to go there. So who knows, maybe there's a bit more than just some of the mechanics they're going to show off in this upcoming Direct. Maybe there are entire online modes that we don't know about yet that they'll showcase here as well. Now, the last part of this, are people wondering if that's the Direct that Nintendo has planned for basically the rest of this year, right? So you look at what they've done previously. They have had game-specific Directs, and then weeks later, had a full general Direct. So it would not be weird or uncommon, anything like that, if we have the Mario Direct tomorrow, and then say the second week of September, for them to have their general Direct for any additional information and releases that they may have for this year, because they can still drop something in November, December, something like that, even give a longer look at certain third-party games, and then, of course, set up the beginning of 2024. As we know, there's Luigi's Mansion, there's Princess Peach, but we know very little about something like Princess Peach and her game, whereas I guess Luigi's Mansion, we've technically already played that one, but still we don't have a release date for it. But exciting stuff nonetheless to get a longer look at Super Mario Bros. Wonder, and probably a full general Direct to follow up weeks later. So a lot happening for Nintendo, especially heading into, once again, a very busy time of year. So exciting stuff. Next up, let's talk about Starfield and its rapidly approaching release. I mean, tomorrow, reviews will go live for the game, and then the following day, early access will hit. And wow, that means tomorrow, it's going to be pretty busy Thursday. We have Mario Bros. Wonder's Direct and review scores going up for Starfield that I'm sure is going to light up quite a bit of conversation on social media. But if you were somebody counting down the minutes for early access to start, or even just the release of the game the following week, September 6th, we do have a chart here that was released by Bethesda that goes over all the different launch dates across time zones, so we can see this posted up. And you may be a little surprised on this one, but it appears you will be able to play it earlier than maybe you're expecting, even myself included. I was thinking midnight release, right? Well, in New York, for example, that time zone, 8 p.m. Now, they point out early access on August 31st and then launch September 5th, so I assume that means that early access will go live 8 p.m. tomorrow, or 8 p.m. Eastern tomorrow. So yeah, I'll be jumping on as soon as that goes live. Now, with early access, if you already are subscribed to Game Pass Ultimate, I think it's an additional $30 or $35. Otherwise, you just wait until September 5th, and it'll of course be added into your library through Game Pass Ultimate. So for anyone who was thinking they had to wait till midnight to play it, nice surprise, I'd say, but There's one other thing that Bethesda is doing, because before we had discussed very briefly that there was some sort of in-person event that was happening with Bethesda leading up to the Starfield launch, something that was kind of hinted at, and it appears that comes down to them putting out a bunch of ads all across the world in the form of these numbered billboards, which we can see this posted up over on Twitter. This from the Starfield account saying, across the world we have hidden 1001 unique and numbered windows to the worlds, offering a glimpse into the universe of Starfield. So they ask people, hey, if you're out and about and you see one, share a picture, which they do have a full Discord where people are already posting up their findings. Like this one, for example, it's numbered 376 out of 1001. And it looks like to me, they're just, again, different pictures of landscapes or scenery in the game. And that's a fun way, I feel like, to advertise the game and get the marketing push going. I mean, billboards, yeah, sure, you see them all the time, right? But this being individually numbered and kind of calling the community to basically go out on one big scavenger hunt to find them, that's kind of fun. I'm just ready for Starfield to come out, because the discourse around this game gets worse and worse every single day, and we're so close. Just like a couple of more days, it'll be out in early access, people will be playing it, because it is wild to see some of the discussion right now from the 99% of us who have not even played the game, because reviewers are under NDA, can't really say anything to dispute maybe some of the leaks and different things that are getting out there around this game. But I guess technically by tomorrow, that'll have lifted and we'll have a ton of information leading up until 8 p.m. Eastern tomorrow night, when we can jump in for early access. It's been a long time coming for Bethesda fans to get back to what they're good at doing, which are these big, expansive single-player RPGs, especially after what happened with Fallout 76, so exciting stuff. Not too much longer, Bethesda fans. Starfield's right around the corner. Next up, let's talk about Armored Core 6 once again when it comes to the sales side of things. Now, Armored Core has never been a massive seller, just in general. I don't think it's ever hit 1 million copies sold for any of the entries. And while we're on the 6th one, there were also kind of like side single release expansions alongside of numbered games. So it is more than 6, but it looks like Armored Core 6, no surprise, off to a strong start. We looked at the concurrent player count numbers on Steam, which is showing that, it's probably well past that 1 million unit mark by now. But just to continue along that path, we can see the UK sales charts here, with Armored Core 6 easily taking the top spot over, is that Mario Kart 8 Deluxe? Wow, it actually knocked it down from last week's #1 entry for Mario Kart 8. Who needs Mario Kart 10? I guess Tour is 9, right? Who needs Mario Kart 10? You know what? Mario Kart 8 Deluxe Plus. That's going to be on the next Nintendo system. Launch title even. They'll probably sell another 30 or 40 million copies. No sweat. Going from there, though, we had Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom, then FIFA 23 Hogwarts Legacy, Lego Star Wars The Skywalker Saga, Mortal Kombat 11 Ultimate, Minecraft on the Nintendo Switch, The Witcher 3 Wild Hunt Game of the Year Edition, and then Grand Theft Auto 5. So seeing Armored Core 6 Fires of Rubicon at the top is great. I did finish up that first boss 2 days ago, and that was a whole thing. But after, getting beyond that, and you start to accrue more and more money or currency in the game, I am buying more and more of the parts, whether it's like the spider legs or the tank legs, and I'm starting to at least wrap my head around, once again, the idea of reshaping your core consistently to go up against all the different obstacles they throw in front of you. But it's really cool to see Armored Core reach a new audience, as a lot of the people who are picking it up say it's their first one, and I completely believe them, just because no one bought these games in the past, but seems like people are really getting a kick out of this game. And if you are struggling with that first boss, look up some build guides. I'm telling you, there is a way past that boss, even if it feels impossible. You'd be surprised how maybe just changing up some of your initial weapons that can knock down the shield will make it much, much easier. So take a look into that. But otherwise, awesome to see Armored Core 6 rolling along. I'll be curious if Bandai drops any hard numbers for this game when it gets to a certain milestone, because if they show up one day and they're like, oh yeah, Armored Core 6 past 3 million units already. Wow, that'd be very, very impressive for what looks to be a rejuvenated franchise. And in our last bit of news, let's talk about Microsoft and the Xbox in Japan, which appears to be on the upswing. I mean, it's hard to not cross the very low bar that the Xbox One set for the company, and the Xbox Series has been basically crushing the Xbox One in Japan. But when you look around at some of the other systems like the PlayStation 5 or the Switch, obviously, it's nowhere near those systems. But it does appear that Microsoft is at least making some legitimate efforts and attempts in the region to maybe create a better foothold and relationship with the different publishers and developers. And it appears now they're adding more talent to their executive side to try to figure out that region and navigate it better. We can see this posted up by Windows Central, who says the former Sony executive joins Xbox to lead Japanese partnership operations. So I'm going to go ahead and just apologize in advance for this one. We have Meina Sato Kato, who worked previously as the vice president of the mobile business for Sony Interactive Entertainment. In fact, she was working with Sony at SIE for about 8 years before leaving in 2021. According to the LinkedIn post, she is responsible for leading partnerships for Japanese publishers at Xbox. And again, this is just something we're seeing more and more from Microsoft, whether it's games going into, or titles going into Game Pass day one, like we think of Persona 3 Reloaded, that just going in immediately when it comes out next year. Or we, of course, see more and more Japanese published games just showcased in Microsoft's, like their big events that they do. You'll see Capcom even just show off a new IP within a Microsoft event. That's not normal necessarily, but you see Microsoft at least making the attempt, putting forth the effort. And one event that I would definitely keep my eye on with Microsoft, just to again see them maybe sustain this effort, would be with Tokyo Game Show coming up in September and 3 or 4 weeks from now. Because this is supposed to be like the biggest Tokyo Game Show. That's according to, of course, the people who are organizing the event. But Microsoft will be there. And it makes me think that they would have some sort of like pre-recorded showcase or event, maybe to show off more and more support that they are giving through Game Pass even to different developers and publishers, and just more of a showcase that's dedicated to the Japanese audience. So I'm very curious to see what they do there, but yeah, it does look like Microsoft is indeed making a pretty serious push in Japan, which is something that Phil Spencer has really wanted to do. He showed up on Square Enix's stage for the Final Fantasy XIV Festival to announce that, and he seemed like really excited to do that. So I'll be curious to see how Microsoft continues in Japan with more game announcements and maybe more partnerships. And before we go to the comment of the day, we're gonna take a look at the poll that I posted up yesterday, where I ask, are you picking up Super Mario Bros. Wonder? 62% say yes, 38% say no. The reason I ran this poll now, I kind of want to see if this shifts at all after the Super Mario Bros. Wonder Direct airs. So I think I'm going to do the exact same poll on Thursday after the showcase or the Direct airs, and then we'll check it out on Friday to see if that split changes at all. I'll screen cap this one, then we'll go back and take a look at the new results. I'm just curious how a focused Nintendo Direct on something like Super Mario Bros. Wonder, which is generally a known concept, a known game, right? A 2D Mario game. What could they introduce here that would really push people over the edge and maybe move from 62% up to 70% buying? Well, we'll see. Again, I'll run the poll after that Direct airs to see what results we get then. And we'll finish up with the comment of the day, as you're seeing here. This is from Can't Stand Ya, who says, Sea of Stars is a prime example of why smaller games need services like Game Pass and PlayStation Plus Extra. It wouldn't have gone under the radar, but it would have been a Switch indie darling and then forgotten by everyone else. Glad it got a fat check from Sony and Microsoft to at least recoup the cost while everyone else is busy with Starfield and Armored Core, and I hope it gathers many players and sales. So something like this, I think, definitely benefits from Game Pass and PlayStation Plus. This is the first game, by the way, that's gotten a check from both of them at the same time for release, so it's not a common thing. But I will admit, I did notice that Sea of Stars is front and center on PlayStation Store on your PS5, you go there right now, Sea of Stars just pops up immediately. Why? Because it's on PlayStation Plus. So Sony has a reason to push the game to try to get you to sign up for their service, but some may just want to buy it and not sign up for the service. And it's kind of the same on Microsoft's side. Sea of Stars is just on my homepage because it's recently added to Game Pass, and Microsoft trying to get people to sign up to Game Pass, it's right there. So it is good advertising for the company behind it, and if they're a smaller studio, like for example, a Sabotage, right, they will benefit from it. But if it's GTA 6 and Take-Two, they're good. They can hold the money. Don't worry about it. But still, it is good to see Sea of Stars getting that kind of advertising, getting guaranteed money, and probably, I assume breaking even before the game even comes out, because yes, they have the Switch release that'll do really well, but then also the physical release coming up down the road, which, I'll be picking one of those up easy. So hey, good to see for Sea of Stars. Make sure you check it out if you haven't, especially if you're a fan of some of the old school RPGs from that Super Nintendo era. And ladies and gentlemen, that's gonna do it here for Newswave. If you enjoyed this video, guys, hit that like button. If not, hit the dislike. Leave comments down below about everything we talked about here. Today was Super Mario Bros. Wonder with its specific direct coming up tomorrow. What are you hoping to see there? And then Starfield launching in early access this week. Are you going to be playing Thursday night? And then Microsoft starting to make that big push in Japan with the Xbox Series. Do you think they have some more announcements up their sleeve maybe for Tokyo Game Show? Thanks guys for watching, and I'll see you next time.